Welcome to the program Alliance for Change, and I'm so glad to be with you this evening. We are going to be joined by a few other folks as the night progresses, but so glad to see each and every one of you. Just making sure we are set up right. Wherever you guys are joining us from this evening, welcome to the Alliance for Change. With me joining right off the bat, folks, I have the one and only Mr. David Patterson. I almost said Dr. Patterson, but that perhaps is in the works. Our former Minister of Infrastructure. And David, welcome to the program. Let's start there. Greetings and salutations.
Well, Sherrod, welcome. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to all of our viewers, or persons that has tuned into Alliance on the Move. If I haven't seen or heard from you or you haven't seen or heard from me for the year, Happy New Year. Pleasure to be here. Lots of things to talk about tonight.
Yes, David. So many things. Where do we start? We got blackouts. You got some. I saw a fantastic road project this week here. I want to pick your brain on that, which tells me how the PP operate. I saw one of perhaps the largest arms and ammunition bust in recent memory. Lots of stuff happening. Budget is to presented this coming week here. I think you have a motion as well coming up in the National Assembly. We can talk a little bit about that. Lots of things happening, David.
Well, that's correct. Let's start right off the bat on the budget. Everybody, every year, whoever it is, every people look eagerly anticipate a budget, because obviously one of the most biggest highlights of the budget is if there's any wage increases, reduction in taxes, what incentives, what big projects, and those things like that. But every year, this is to be the third budget by the PPP.
Yes.
And we've always constantly been disappointed. They started a campaign promise in 2020, which they promised 50% for the workers, for all our public service workers. They only received 7%, and not only they gave them only 7%, which is 43% less than what they promised. They taxed it as well. So they really have sort of let down the people, blindsided the people. They promised that the sugar estates will be up and running. It's almost 2 years now. The sugar estates are not up and running. They promised so many other issues. They promised that we would have. They said to us that they reduced over 200 taxes and those things that the coalition put on. Well, I don't know what these taxes they removed there, because every single thing since they came to power has gone up. I'm talking about things that never had taxes on them. I'm talking about people in Region 5 and Region 6. Planting gone up. Bora, okra, meat, bread. These things here never had taxes on them. So and they came in and they said that they made this big thing, how they're removing all these taxes and how that the life will be better. But that's not true. Definitely not true. So now we're coming into another budget. And I'm already hearing that it's going to be the biggest budget. Of course, it'll be the biggest budget, because they're taking the money, our oil money, and they're taking it and they're putting it into the budget. They pass it, with no scrutiny, but they're not putting the money that they're taking towards the people. What they're doing, they'll take it and they're going to build a hotel and they'll name it Barra Jagdeo Palace, Irfan Ali, Catfish Hotel, whatever it is. But they're not taking the money and putting it back into the people. The money comes from the oil, our oil, the people oil, but they're not taking it and put it back to the people. They're claiming that they're doing a lot of road projects, but you can see friends and family. They're giving it out. The ordinary contractors. I know the ordinary contractors in Westport, in Berbice, they have personally called me to say that that they're not winning any contracts or anything like that. So the money is not being spread around. Then, of course, we don't talk about the health system. About that. First and foremost, COVID is real, everyone. So you have to take care, take all the precautions. It's not up to the government alone, but the government has a big part to play, a very big part to play in it. You have to pay your frontline workers. They are the cutting edge. They're the people that face the blunt of this pandemic. Every single day since this pandemic, those persons get up leave their family, and they go and look after the persons that need it, and they get zero remuneration. There's no credit. There's no package to make them feel as though their sacrifice is worth it. So when the budget comes around, Sherrod, I definitely don't think anybody will be impressed. You hear a lot of big projects. They'll talk about, oh yes, we're gonna build this, we're gonna build that, we're gonna build that. Nothing they've built has worked. Sheriff Mandela, they took over that project. That is a mess. Anybody comes to Georgetown, that's a mess. East Bank Barbies, under the coalition, you can remember there's a big issue on East Bank Barbies, so we give you a 7 kilometers of asphaltic concrete. Asphaltic concrete, like a highway. What did they give you? What are they giving you now? They said that they're giving you $100 million of DBST, which is chip seal. We don't do those things anymore. I mean, you don't treat Barbies, you don't treat Guyanese, them, you're oil producing country. Chip seal. Why are you giving people chip seal roads? And they're saying it and making people feel that how they should be happy to receive
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
things. I mean, that's what they're doing. Then, of course, don't go to GPL, but Cheryl, yes.
Come in there. We come in there. David, Starbuck News had an editorial a couple weeks back, I think, characterized what has happened under the PPP administration. And the header for that editorial was failure to launch their policies, their programs, well intentioned, but some really, really, really a lot of incompetence, much like GPL at the wheels. And I'm seeing that the installed vice president was on last evening talking about how there were more jobs. Listen to these lies and propaganda. More jobs and disposable income than when the PPP took over. Now, David, you articulated there what's happening in the marketplace. We don't have to lie on them. You all go to the marketplace and see if the money y'all were working for before doing any shop, and then we could talk about more disposable income.
Listen to me, Sharon. Everyone knows that the road is hard. That's the word you hear. Things get hard, things get tight. That's the word you're hearing around the market. The money that people are getting to feed the money they're getting can't buy about a quarter of what it did was able to purchase a couple of years ago. Everyone knows that. It's nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with PPP or thing. It's just the country is just harder. And then he has the temerity to look at people. They came in saying that they will create 50,000 new jobs. Third budget, and they haven't even created 300. They fired, and to create 300, they fired a set of people. They fired about 2,000 public servants, and that is how they were able to hire. They haven't brought anything, and you think about it. Sugar, they're supposed to do bring back all 17,000 workers. Not even 1,000 has been employed. The health sector, there's still nurses and those things like that. Teachers, where has these jobs coming from? Where these more jobs are? Granted,
I
there's
think the
a
sugar
there's a
industry is a
construction
good
there's a
barometer
construction
of
boom.
that. Not one of the estates.
Not one of the
They say they're
estates.
going to
We
be
come to
open.
the estates. So there's a construction boom right now. Yet people can't. They're not hiring. Foreigners coming in. The local content laws is here, and those things like that. But it has not translated down to our people. You know what I mean? The friends and family. I mean, you see big buildings going up. You hear about big hotels, big. The ordinary man, me and you, Sharon, not even
Mhm.
managing. Your viewers are not even benefiting from it. Every single thing, every single aspect of life has gone up under this PPP government. What they're good at is bluff, smoke screens,
And I happy you say
PR.
that.
PR, they'll come and give you, you will see the billboards that will go up after budget. You'll see they'll rent the entire TV station, 24 hours, nice pictures, Photoshop pictures, no reality, nobody looking like me, no ordinary Guyanese. And then they pay some people to say, oh, what a lovely budget. The minister and the government doing things. There's a paid persons. They don't go down to Rosignol Market Square. And I challenge them to go to Rosignol Market the day after the budget and interview one of those persons there to let one of those persons in Rosignol Market say it out that what they're doing is worthwhile. They can't even go by the market because, of course, the last time I heard they were trying to move the vendors from there. So they won't even go there because nobody can't even vend there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's just the opposition, the Alliance for Change, has called for, as you saw today, free education, university education. They promised that. They said in 5 years. But they're going to, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to take 604 million US dollars out of our 604 million US dollars out of the Natural Resources Fund. And they can't make education free. They can't expand any single thing. They can't reduce the income tax. They're just going to take this money and they say that we're the next Dubai and they're going to try and build a skyscraper. We don't want skyscrapers. We want to live in peace, enjoy the our hard work and our labor. We don't ask for handouts. You know what I mean? They'll come back with because we care and we're pleased with that. You know what I mean? You hand out COVID handouts and those things like that. But when you do those things, you must do it equitably.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
must get. They come
Yeah.
with a lot more flood relief money, and one person, one family can collect 10 flood relief money, and his neighbor, his and her neighbor, will not collect a cent. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, particularly the people in region 5 and 6. They know about that people that didn't even grow one stem of bora collect $10 million saying on the flood relief. So we have a long way to go, Sher. We have a long way to go.
David, I'm happy you talked about fluff and bluff and about billboards and so on, because there's a lot of billboards around the city now that reads "Welcome Jair Bonasaro," but that didn't age too well at all. All of the circumstances, we understand that, but again, it seems to be a lot of wastage. 500 billboards that somebody wouldn't even see, but just to pat yourself on the back and say we brought ahead the state. It's a lot of nonsense.
But you see that's what, as I was saying, that's what they're good at. They're good at putting on shows. It's called it's like a sleight of hand. You know what I mean? Like what a magician does. You know what I mean? He puts his hand up here, but he obviously wants to distract you from what is really happening. And that's what it is. You know what I mean? They had the workers. They had the workers working all night paving the roads in coming down from the airport. 24 hours. I mean, so if if he did come, he would say, "Oh my gosh, what a lovely country." But for the rest of the year, we Guyanese going through potholes and
Yeah,
darkness and those things
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So they put a spit in a shine on it. You know what I mean? And then they get some journalists to say, "Oh, well, lovely. The people are doing a good job." That's all they do. Bluff, pure bluff. They don't do any single thing that you name it. They've been in power for 23 years prior to 2015. Name one successful project that they were done. They did Skeldon, 200, that brought Gaisuko. These same people brought Gaisuko down to their knees. 200 million US dollars on a factory that doesn't even work and it will never work. And they come back now to say to us that they're going to repair it and they're going to bring it in. Rose Hall, I know that they're right, but every single day Rose Hall's telling, everybody knows it. People are scared to come and talk about it on thing here. So, but you have to do something about Rose Hall. Someone will be injured seriously, and then they will go somehow they'll try to say that it's Patterson and Duncan, bad talk Rose Hall estate, the condition of it. That's why it collapsed. They have not a clue what they're doing. GPL, you could tell, maybe brand new sets. 5 brand new sets came in this country in 2020. Brand new, in the seal, bubble wrap. And all they had to do is pick these sets up, these generating sets, put them on the foundation and turn them on. 2 years later, you heard how there's almost a catastrophic explosion.
Yep, yep.
These brand new sets, they can't even hook up. I mean, it's like plugging in a wall plug, turning on a light, pushing in a fan. They can't even hook that up. They can't even do the simplest of things. They brought
And
back
David, just last week, that in the minister with responsibility, I think for the power generation sector, said that the engineers are almost there. You see, they almost solved the problem. That's a week ago. They almost.
look, listen to me. When you have not a clue, you have not a clue. So almost to him is to the rather normal person is like a mile, but to him is almost because he hasn't a clue what. You mean you show him a red wire and a green wire, he wouldn't even know what to do with it. He doesn't know what the earth. He doesn't know what is neutral, positive, powered wire. So he hasn't a clue. But I said, here what Burbies. In 2014, the chairman of the board of GPL was none other than one gentleman called Mr. Winston Brassington. And Winston Brassington, and at that time, he was the chairman of GPL. The CEO of GPL in 2014 was a gentleman called Barrett Dindial. And his contract was coming to an end. And the then Prime Minister, Sam Hines, asked the board, because the Prime Minister asked the board's recommendation on if he should renew this contract for the Mr. Dindial. The PPP, Winston Brassington-led board, wrote the most scathing report on Mr. Barrett Dindial, the CEO,
The PP
to the
board.
Prime Minister Sam Hines, saying to him, do not renew this man's contract. He has destroyed almost $55 million in his tenure of work of machineries. He's autocratic. He's not a team player. Basically has not a clue what he's doing as CEO of GPL. That's in 2014. When the government changed in 2015, he had no contract. He was on a month-to-month contract. And we said, fair enough. Your predecessors don't want you. And I do think that, you know, I mean, obviously we give them the benefit of the doubt. So his contract, at the end of the month, his contract came to an end and he was let go. We went, APN, we went international. We hired a firm, Ernst & Young International, and they advertised all over the world. And we interviewed CEOs from all over the world. And we ended up with a Jamaican CEO, Mr. Albert Gordon, who came in and with the support of the government, systematically was able to get, as you would know, GPL back on some level keel and the plans and the maintenance programs and those things like that. And everyone knows that we were doing better. Next, in 2020, August 2020, they came into power, fired Mr. Gordon, Jamaican. It had nothing to do with he was hired by an international process, by the board of directors. They advertised in all over the CARICOM, all over the English Commonwealth, and that he was hired. Fired him, whatever reason. But I don't mind, they fired him. But guess what they did, Sherrod? Brought back the same CEO from 2014 that their own board says was a waste of time. And you expect there's a saying that says that, you know what I mean, if you do the same thing, right, and you expect a different result, you got to be a mad person.
Yeah.
You brought back the same CEO, you know what I mean, that he used to get $6 million a month. Brought the same CEO back, put him in place, and then of course now they can't even hook up 5 brand new generators. 5 brand new generators. So I mean, and so people can understand why we are where we are. They don't want to be professional. They don't want person to keep competent persons around because obviously they're intimidated by a competent person. So GPL has now gone, what would they say, back to the future. We are now back to what they were in 2014.
And this is why we are where we are, David. This is why we are where we are. Now, I heard a bizarre thing this afternoon as part of this lead up to the reading of the budget next week. Again, trying to distract from their failures. I remember one of the key campaign promises was the revision of the ExxonMobil, I think the PSA. We're gonna come, we're gonna revise it. APNU did a poor job, all manner of madness you heard. Now, I heard the installed vice president say just last evening, he said that the local content policy is meant to bluster what was basically the failing of the ExxonMobil contract. They come and they said to the public, we are not going to renegotiate the contract, basically breaking their promise. We are
Well,
not touching it, this bad contract, but now diverting attention to say, oh, what we did with the local content policy is to shore up what was missing from the ExxonMobil contract. That is bizarre to me.
that backed against smoke and mirrors and whistles and so. Everyone, everyone prior to 2020, PPP has said, listen to me, that the contract is not the best for Guyanese. We said that we thought we did the best, but however, we accept if you say it's not the best, because it's just like it's that you take a second opinion, you go to a doctor, he looks at you and he prescribes something and he gives you his best opinion, and you go to a second doctor and he gives you another opinion. We've said, and I have said as a shadow minister for oil and gas, that if the contract is not the best, let us renegotiate it. The opposition,
And I
all
think
the
you went on to
opposition.
even lend your support.
Yes, I'm saying we 100% give you support. We would 100%. So therefore, there is no excuse for them to keep saying that, oh, the contract isn't good. Because if I'm saying the contract isn't good, and the opposition is lending me my support, they never lent us their support to do any single thing while we're in government. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you next time you hear them say that the contract we have is bad and you agree with them, you ask them, why don't you renegotiate? The opposition. David Patterson, the shadow minister for oil and gas, has said in Parliament on this program, if the contract is so bad, we, the opposition, all 32 members as well, will stand side by side with you to renegotiate it to get a better contract. But it's smoke and whistles. They don't want to do it. It's all lip service. When they were in opposition, they want to get it. They don't want to do it. Why? Because their friends and family are the ones that are benefiting in this contract that they say is so bad. You know what I mean? We have ministers who have companies that are getting contracts with ExxonMobil. When
Wow.
challenged, they turned to said that they're no longer a member of the contract. He took his name off and he put on his sister. So we have ministers, this is public knowledge. You go to the registry, took his name off and put on his sister. So he has ministers who have companies that are
David seems to have, let's hope David comes back. He seems to have some internet problem. But this is the challenge we're facing in this country with these guys. This is the challenge that we are facing is, as David said, smoke and mirrors, bells and whistles. Smoke and mirrors, bells and whistles. They say they're going to renegotiate the contract, right? But then they find when they come in, the contract really sweet. So we can take it so, but we're going to say it's a local content policy now that can help we
yes,
with the activities of the contract. That's what they're
yeah,
saying.
right,
Yep, yep,
exactly.
yep, yep, yep. David?
Exactly, you know what I mean. So these are smoke whistles. So this oil money now is shared out between the friends and families, and so you look at them. You look at who are doing shore bases, who getting a contract. Same set of people used to build hotels. Same set of people that used to do transformational projects. Same set of people that used to fly airplanes. Those are the same people that are benefiting. And what you do, you hang out a carrot in front of the ordinary man and man or woman in Guyana. They can't get the big bucks. You can't go and sit down with the big people with Exxon and those things. Here we can do local content. But folks, the local content is just another sham in the sense that yes, they're reserving a portion of the work for you. But the things that you have to do to qualify, the things that you have to do to qualify, it makes it you'll be wondering what it is. I mean, if you sell, and I'll give you an example, if you're going to be selling food, catering, gotta go and form a company. or you got to register your company in certain name. You got to go and get business license, food handlers license, this certificate, that certificate. So the ordinary man will not really benefit. What he will do is sell to a middleman who will be benefiting. So the idea, I don't know how the Barbadians will benefit, because the most that they can get, because there is no oil and gas industry up in Barbados at the moment. If you remember, if you can recall, and just today I was speaking to former Minister Trotman just this afternoon. If you can recall, we brought a motion, and we set out a shore base must be one of these shore bases to deal with oil and gas, must be in Barbados. Must, because of course we want the Barbadians as well to benefit from the oil and gas industry. The PPP loved Barbados so much they voted against that. But they'll come up and tell people in Barbados that the opposition don't like him. I brought a motion saying that you must have the next shore base before you go any more in Georgetown, because in the Demerara River must be on the Barbados River. Brought that. That was in November last year. The PPP, the same people that so care for the Barbadians, voted against it. Said no, it's a free market. That's how the people should go wherever they want. But if you want to bring back Barbados, why would you insist that if these people have all these millions of dollars, why don't you insist that they build a shore base in Barbados? Because the people will build a shore base where they want, where the land is cheap, because the people already bought up the land, the state giving them the land and those things like that. But you as a government should have insisted that I brought the motion saying, if you're going to come and build another shore base to serve oil and gas, let it be in Barbados. Brought that motion. Ashley Singh, Edgehill, Indar, the Prime Minister, they spoke against that in the Parliament and said, no, it is free market. And you know where the people are building? All the way in the Demerara River alone. So, as I said, it's just smoke and whistles, And next time you see one of them come here, next time you see them, you must ask them why. They will tell you that how that is the investor prefers to build in Georgetown. But if you don't encourage it, if you don't force people to build where you want them to build, they will do what they want to do. And that is one of the things. So this whole local content for the people in Barbados, because if you built a shore base there, the people need labor.
Yeah.
The people need food, they need
Yeah.
transportation, they need trucking. And the Barbadians, the Region 5 and Region 6, would have been able to service that industry. That's not true now. Everybody's in Georgetown. So for you to get the benefits of this, you got to come down to Region 4. Why? And every single elections, you give them your vote. But they voted against development in your area.
Yeah.
Voted against development in your area. Check the Hansard, check the Parliament.
Yep. David, the Natural Resources Fund Act, this act that governs how the oil and gas revenues are managed, are spent, are put away for future generations. They passed that in the National Assembly last December. We fought against them almost physically. And we know that Monday they're hatching a plan to discipline some MPs. But what makes them won't pass them? But I brought up the issue, David, because outside of the opposition, every independent thinker and expert says that this thing, the way it is constituted, is bad. Just yesterday, Anand Gulsiran, respected in his field, man good with the numbers, he knows accounting, he understands it. That this kind of work for his PhD. He understands it. He said that this thing here is dangerous. This thing here that the people doing, how they set up this fund here, it is dangerous. All right, sir. Anand got aside. Anand locally got aside. Reading the Starbuck News yesterday, David, Starbuck News quoted an expert on the National Resource Fund Act, one Mr. Andrew, I think the name is pronounced Boye. He's a natural resource fund expert internationally. And he has come to the conclusion after looking at this whole setup, the framework, the infrastructure, that is the most top heavy bureaucracy of any sovereign fund wealth I've ever seen. That's what he said. Now they can say, well, we must pay you or somebody pay you or something. But everybody, that's the point I'm making, David. That look at this thing, said this thing here got plenty problems. The PEP trying to tell us, right, that they're brighter than everybody else. The experts on this thing, they were brighter than everybody else. David, what do you make of this?
Let's start from the beginning quickly. The Natural Resources Fund, ladies and gentlemen in Berbice, because it might be every time that Exxon exports oil and have to pay us, that money goes into a fund and it's kept in a bank. Right now, until January 1 this year, it was kept by the Federal Reserve Bank in America. At the end of January this year, at the end of December this year, it was $604 million US dollars, more than $500 million. What the fund is there for is for all Guyanese. It's like a saving fund. You mean like a saving account, and you put the money in there, and then you must have rules and regulations how you're going to withdraw it. What the APNUAFC had in place was we set up a committee. It was 22 persons. People say it's laugh, but each and every region, the reason why it was 22, every region, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, everybody was able to put a representative on it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the religious society, the transparency, and all the civil societies were able to put somebody, indigenous people, they were able to put somebody on it. So there'll be a board of directors of 22 persons. And this board of directors will say, listen to me, this year, just like any bank, this is the amount of money we can withdraw out of this account. So, and of course, as the years go by, this account will grow bigger and bigger. The PPP said that 22 persons looking over it. Of course, they don't want plenty of people looking over it. I mean, they only want 1 or 2 people looking over this plate of gold, this bucket of milk. Said 22 persons are too much. Too many eyes on this pie. We will change it. And here what they change it to, ladies and gentlemen, 5. No problem. If you say 5 is better, I mean, easier to talk about. But here how they're choosing the 5. 3 of the 5 by the president chooses. No consultation. He could get up. He could choose catfish, snapper, and tilapia. He has to give no reason whatsoever. And it could be his brother, his sister, and his in-laws. These are the people who can tell you how much money coming out of this pot. The fourth person, a nominee from the private sector. You all know the private sector commission. You know who make up the private sector commission. You know them, the usual players. They haven't. The private sector commission hasn't introduced a new person nor a new entity in the longest while. The same old presidents, you know what I mean? The past president, last past president, Jerry Gavaya is now advisor. The
National
current
security.
past president was on the Berbice Bridge. He was the chairman of the Berbice Bridge. Mr. Chung, he was the chairman of the Berbice Bridge. That same entity that wanted to raise the tolls at the Berbice Bridge. So they now get to choose one. That's number 4. And the fifth person comes from the National Assembly, where the PPP has the majority.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, so they move. So Region 6 has no say. Region 5 has no say. The opposition has no say. Transparency International has no say. The indigenous people have no say. No one else other than these 3 people. The president can wake up. He can get a dream. Let me appoint Tom, Dick, and Harry. Then private sector can say, well, all right, I can appoint Jerry. And then the parliament will go, I don't know. They will just
David,
go
these guys
find
not
another
easy.
body.
They're not easy. So everybody
Very
ready for
easy.
me. Who will be
So
on this
these
panel?
5 people, and this is what these 5 persons will be the people. They'll sit down, and of course, no doubt, they'll sit down and drink some coffee, some champagne, and those things like that. And they will take out all the money, no oversight whatsoever. Take out all the money and give it to the government to spend. The idea behind this program was that you must have this 22 persons or whatever number you want. And they would come to say, listen to me, this year, we only taking out a quarter because we already see around the world that next year going to be a rough year. We save in. If you have a natural disaster, there must be money put out for a rainy day. But how this new natural resources funded? It can rain and it can pour, and all that we can do is get wet because they put it out so that they could take all the money whenever they want, poor oversight. Here, Barbies, Sherrod, when just like Mr. Gould Siran, just like the fellow who
Andrew
established
Boy.
everyone, when they said that there's no checks and balances, here is the defense that they give: that the Auditor General, the Guyana Auditor General, will audit the projects. Ladies and gentlemen in Boris, let me explain to you the facts. Every year, the Auditor General audits the government's accounts, and then he presents a report. So at the end of, say, 2021, he has to present a report to Parliament by September of 2022. And then, of course, a committee called the Public Accounts Committee looks at it. But here's the kick. Here's the trick in it. Right now, the Public Accounts Committee are looking at accounts for 2017. So therefore, in 2022, we're looking at 2017, which means that in 2023, we will be looking at 2018, 2024, 2019, 2025, 2020. By the time we get to examine what they are doing with this money out of this Natural Resources Fund, it will be 2027.
Wow.
Another 5 years. So they're taking the money out now, knowing that even if the Auditor General finds and that organization is not that very strong, even if perchance we find something illegal, it wouldn't come out until 2027. And here's the other kicker, Sharon. Our laws have a statute of limitation, 3 years. If you give a man a contract and it's expired, you only have 3 years after the end of the contract to carry him to court. So when they give out the money in 2022, when they give out the money in this budget here, right? By 2027, even if somebody thief the money, we can't carry them to court because it's against our laws. So that is what is happening. That is the big fuss about the Natural Resources Fund. That is what we were saying, that you must have the more eyes on it, the more people that were observing
Correct.
it, the more
Correct.
scrutiny you have,
Correct.
the more public disclosure you have, the more transparent it would be. And then, of course, when Region 6 has a representative and Region 5 has a representative, at the beginning of the year, when they sit down to say, well, we have this amount of money, the people from Region 6 and Region 5 could get up and say, listen to me, we have a paddy bug in Region 5. It's killed all our crops. We would like you to take out money out of this Natural Resources Fund, right? And help us regenerate, fertilize, bring back our rice crops. But they did away with all of that. So all you will be hearing from these 5 people is about, because this is what they like, hotels. They will build more hotels than me and you. I don't know sure how many people in Barbados went to the Marriott. But they said, oh, we have the most hotels. For foreigners, nothing to do for us. They will say that they're going to build a bridge from here over the Barbados River, over there to Suriname. But we know that the challenges is we have with the ferry. We have a ferry because when you build it, the Surinamese says we own. We haven't resolved the issue there because the whole river, the Surinamese says that they own. Yeah. But they say, oh, we're doing this for you. It's not doing it for us. They're doing it for themselves and their friends and their family. They will the airport. They always like to blame us on the airport, but you know who signed the airport contract?
Same
PPP.
Jagabats.
Bara Jagdeo, last thing he did in 2011 before he demitted office is signed that 150 million US dollars. 2 years after they talk with all it is, they're still struggling to have it finished. And there's still the Chinese people, of course, now. When we had them, the Chinese people could not say to us, well, I mean, they had to do what we think. Chinese people said, oh, well, hold on a second, it's me, you negotiate this contract. How are you coming and throw it back? They will telling the PPP. Still can't finish. Did you hear them? When last you heard anything about the airport, Sherrod? Nothing. When last you hear all the things that they used to talk about? Absolutely
More money
nothing. You
needed.
know what I
That's the
mean?
only thing that they told us recently.
Yeah,
Need
yeah,
some
yeah,
more
yeah.
money.
So you know, so that's what they'll do, and then they'll come and tell people, poor people. I mean, we this government, our government, went to the British because we believe went to the British and we got 75 million US dollars to start the road from here to Lethem. Do you know how much money? Free. This is a grant. You know, with grant is not a loan, free. Do you know how much money it out that these guys? I don't know where they did the money. Only 34 million going towards that road.
Wow.
40 million disappear. I don't know what they're doing with it. Right? The government of the British government gave us 75 million US dollars to build the road from here to Lethem, to Mubura. And we said as a start, free money. They never ever PP never ever like projects like that, which opens up the country for people, you know what I mean, for mining, for logging and those things like that, because they can't control it. So they only put $34 million. You check, you go back, or anybody worried to go back and check the contract sums. $34 million was what went out to build that road. What they do in the other $40 million? Heavens no.
Heavens
No
no,
one.
indeed.
No one.
David,
So
crime, David,
crime.
spiraling out of control, much like COVID-19. Another 8 dead today, 800 and something confirmed new cases of COVID-19. Crime is going. And recently we learned that the Senegalese intercepted a ship with 3 container loads of arms and ammunition, David, with the country already with crime skyrocketed. Where are they going? Them
Look,
boys come back. Since they come back, big cocaine bus, Belgium, Netherlands, you name it, guns now and ammunition.
the largest ever cocaine bust. I mean, because of course, you know, I mean, I've always said this, and I say this on this program all the time. The boys are back in town. The criminals, the underworld, the drug dealers, the money launderers are very, very comfortable with the PPP government.
Correct.
Everybody could ask why and so. They're very, very comfortable with the PPP government. Soon as they came in, the largest ever drug bust ever. They didn't even wait 2 months, you know. They sit down there and they hear the PPP come in and you see some men, they packed an entire container, ladies and gentlemen, 100 and something tons of drugs. Now, you have a ship registered to Guyana. Registered is a Guyanese registered ship in Senegal with 5.2 million US dollars worth of ammunition. And the first thing that the government will do instead of trying to be honest with people is shout, no,
Yeah.
it's not a Guyanese registered ship. But the facts come out. It is a Guyanese registered ship. The next thing said, oh, it's a Guyanese registered ship, but the company that registered it, they signed a MOU with this company in March of 2021. And the MOU says that is a 5-year MOU, and this company is in charge of registering all the ships for Ghana, keeping the ship registered. They then come to us and say, "Oh, yes, we did sign a MOU with this person that registered the ship, but we terminated the deal in August of 2021." Gerard, when we looked at the contract says is a 12 5-year contract, and to terminate the deal, to terminate the MOU, you have to give the person 12 months notice. And they're saying to us that we sign in March and we terminate in August. So, and the last date, here the interesting kicker, the last date that we had any association with this company was in December 31st, 2021. And January 6th, a Guyanese registered boat with 5.3 containers, AK-47, 3 containers of things, who the authorities, when they stopped the boat, checked the manifest, said that the boat is en route to Guyana. And the PPP, instead of them doing like any other government, said that we're going to launch investigation, the person that registered the boat, the owners of the boat, the shippers, and those things like that, if they have any connection in Guyanese, we'll investigate them and lock them up. You know what they're saying? No. It's not coming to Guyana. When every single international agency, you Google it now, says the ship is en route to Guyana. Guyanese registered boat. And that is how they do every single thing. Crime. The Minister of Home Affairs gets up and says out crime is down by 31%.
Yep.
31%. The man didn't say 1, 2, 3, 31%. And every single day, somebody getting robbed, someone being shot either by the bandits or by the police. Maybe when the police shoot people, they don't consider that as crime. They consider that as something like that. Poor Boston in Essequibo was shot, but that doesn't go down in that doesn't make the statistics. Yeah, that's people, car robberies every single day. Every single day you go on Facebook, you see somebody on a motorcycle snatching someone's purse or belongings or those things like that. People are scared to walk on the street. Yet the Minister of Home Affairs gets up and says crime is down 31%. It's like if you play darts or Ludo or something like that. You take the shake, whatever number come up on the 2 dice. You say, yeah, it is. So 1 come up, a 3, 2 dice in Ludo, a 3 come up on 1. You say, oh, yeah. Tomorrow going to be 2 ones, you can say 11%. No sense of reality whatsoever. No sense of reality whatsoever. Crime, I mean, people coming in here, we supposed to be the Dubai of the Caribbean. And people are scared. There are more security firms now. You check it. Also, there are more security firms now than there was ever before. And why would you need more security firms if crime is down 31%? Pick sense out of nonsense. You know what I mean? Why you have so many security for armed securities as well? Armed securities, I mean, I'm not battering and so forth. Big guns, but crime is down 31%. You know what I mean? So we are just in it's like if, maybe the PPP trying to look at us in our face and tell us, the king's new clothes, that everything is perfect when the man in the street knows it is not perfect. So
David, it's not easy in this place, we're talking about how bizarre some of this is. And we talked about shipping there and about crime. And we got a story here kind of pulls both in one. Guyanese, you all know we had a fire recently at the park on shipping on Lombard Street. Well, in what seems very bizarre, David, maybe you can make better sense of it than we can. The police, or the fire chief rather, the fire chief acting, one Gregory Wickham, he's telling us that this thing is arson, is an act of arson. And Guynek, who owns and operates that property there, says that there's no conclusive evidence that this was not an act of arson.
But Sharad, these are the same persons, ladies and gentlemen, that said a prisoner vex, take a piece of sponge, tight onto wire and burn down Brickdam police
Yeah, yeah,
station.
yeah. Like
Right?
the
I
white
mean,
sponge.
and when you check that where the prisoners are being housed and where the fire started, it's totally different. You know what I mean? This is the same persons. So now, ladies and gentlemen, the park and barn catches a fire. The fire chief acting gets up immediately, just as quick as the prisoner
Yeah.
that stick the piece of wire on sponge and burn on breakdancing, and says it's arson. The owners of the whole barn and the whole thing, uh, GNIC, gets up and says, hold on a second. We have 24 hours cameras, surveillance cameras, every square inch of our barn, because of course of theft and security insurance purposes. Every square inch of our barn is under video surveillance. And we have looked at the last 2 days of video footage, and not a single soul, I don't know, not a single soul has come in here. We've shared this video footage with the fire department, so we don't know how they could arrive at
At arson.
arson. And they've said that and here's the thing, GNIC is a government agency. The government agency is telling the fire chief, but they look back at the video because there's not a single conclusive evidence of arson. But you know why they do these things, Sherrod? Smoke, screens, smoke and whistles. So they want to scare the people in Barbies. They want to scare the country that we have a set of arsonists.
Yep.
And the
Yep.
same prisoner
Yep.
that Vex, that burned down
Breakdown.
Brigham,
Breakdown
right?
police station.
On
Yeah.
the loose. His brother, his sister,
Yeah.
and so forth. They gone wrong that they gone with matches and they burning down places. They're trying to create fear and havoc in the people to distract from their mismanagement. But when you can see a government agency, GNIC, gets up and says, listen to me, Mr. Fire Chief, put on your glasses.
Yeah.
Come, look, sit down. And you know how you could, and slow motion, because those cameras, you could slow it down. They said, look, last 2 days, you could take it 10 days to look at it. Nothing.
David, I'm
But,
wondering if this is to distract from even the performance of the fire service yet again,
oh, but,
because there are photographs which show that building as it went up in flames, video photos, video footage as well. And it seems that the fire service took a long time.
but look, listen to me. The performance of the fire service under the administration has been abysmal. You know what I mean? We know Brickdam burned down and they were like, listen, literally a minute away. Took them half an hour to get there, about 15 minutes, half an hour. Traffic, they said. When they got there, is no water. This Le Parc en Bon, ladies and gentlemen, is next to the river. Abundance of water. Same thing.
Yeah.
But of course, to justify their performance and those things that is distract from it, they'll throw up a red herring and says, oh, no matter what happened, somebody tried to burn down this place. It's not true. Gerard, we're in a bad place, but what they've been doing and what they continue to do and what we've been asking the people of Barbies and Region 6 and wherever it is, I know in Kokwani, don't be distracted. You're all on Facebook. Every single thing that we've raised on this program, you can check. You can check Senegal, the Senegalese report on where the boat is
Yeah.
registered. You can check GNIC's report on saying that there's no credible evidence for arson at the wharf. You can check my comments on the Natural Resource Fund, the 5 persons versus the 22 persons there before. You could walk down and look at Rose Hall Estate. Rose Hall Estate. You know
Correct.
me, I think so
Correct.
you have a camera. Every single thing that we've mentioned here, you could GPL, Google Mr. Barrett Dindial, CEO of GPL, and you will
I see
see
nice things that said about him.
you will see on Google the report from Mr. Winston Brattington saying that if you left this man to touch our engines, they can broke up. They brought you back again. So what do you expect? They can broke up. You know what I mean? Every single thing that we mentioned, and then you talk about the cost of living. You don't gotta Google it. You know that. You know that every single thing it has gone up. I mean, cheese. It's so sad, Cheryl, that people are now buying single sausages and those things like that. Never happened before. And they still sit down and tell you that the life is better. Single sausages you buying, you know what I mean? You're buying cheese and you're taking the people cutting the cheese up into small slivers, wrapping up in a little plastic bag and those things like that. You know what I mean? You hide them because you're ashamed to let your people know what you've come to. But ladies and gentlemen, hope is always on the horizon.
I love
You
that.
have a voice.
Love that.
You have a voice. Long as you sit down and get up and stand up for what you deserve, what demand, what you better, you know what I mean? You better will come. And one last thing, Sharon. One last thing, and I've been saying this every time I come on to this program. Fisher folks, if you're a fisherman, you carp duck. Literally, you know what I mean? Fisherman, you're saying you fish a duck, you're carp duck. There has been credible reports day in, day out about the sparsity and the lack of fish catches from our fisher folks. They've been going out further and further out, and they've been catching less and less. There's a report in today's Stabrook News that the Exxon and the Exxon people are chasing them. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you read the newspapers. I'm not making this up. Our fishermen, your fisher folks, your brothers and sisters, the person that bring in the Bangameri and snapper, are being chased from their traditional fishing grounds. I mean, where they go, where the brown water meets the blue sea, there's the nice currents and the tides. They've been chased from there by employees of Exxon, contractors of them, because they say they're doing a survey there. So then, of course, where they're going to fish, they're getting reduced catches. And here is what the government has said to them, that we're not going to stop them chase. We ain't going to tell them that you can't chase a Guyanese for fishing in your own water. So here we can set up some big fish traps. What the government trying to tell you, they can put up some big seine, and you and everybody else go inside these big fish traps and try and catch fish inside there. You ever hear anything like that? That's what they want to do. The fish that we catch and we eat here moves with the tide, move with the ocean currents. You're gonna put up two seine somewhere like that, and every single fisherman gotta go and fight in that little square to get it. That is their plan.
What we know, since them boys come, the fish them run away.
Yes, and there's no.
That's what we know.
So our fishermen in for hard times. Our people at the sugar estates in for hard times. Our the transportation people in for hard times. Guyana in for hard times, and then they'll tell you how they have a big budget.
Biggest
budget ever coming
but
out with.
David, I think you characterize it well. Smoke and mirrors, bells and whistles.
Smoke and mirrors, you know what I mean? Like when in those days, you know what I mean? Smoke, where in those movies, see a man and he disappear. And then, you know what I mean? That's exactly what that's your salary, your month salary. You collect it.
Yeah.
Disappear. Your wife asking you, Sherrod, where the money? And if you tell her, sweetheart, it was just here in my hands, I don't know where it gone. She won't believe you.
Yeah.
She won't believe you.
David, thanks for spending this time with us. General Secretary of the Alliance for Change, a former Minister of Infrastructure. Thanks very much, David. That's our program, folks.
Thank you very much, folks. See you next time.
Same time next week. See you guys. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.
Stay safe.